Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Seth Clark. And I'm so happy that he said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you, Dr. Caroline?
Oh, thank you so much for being my guest. I'm excited about our interview, and I would like to introduce you to the audience. Of course, you are a leadership coach and researcher who helps executives and professionals navigate the profound identity shifts that accompany retirement and late career transition, drawing on leadership studies, contemplative traditions, and your experience as a hospice chaplain. You explore how mortality awareness can clarify purpose, values, and wiser decision making when familiar roles fall away. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast. Wow, Dr. Seth Clark.
Thank
This
you.
is you.
Great to be here. Yeah, and that introduction sounds too formal, but it sounds good. It sounds like I do a lot of good stuff, and I'm happy to do those things.
Thank you so much. My first question for you is you describe retirement as the penultimate transition. What
Yeah.
makes this stage uniquely disruptive and potentially transformative for leaders?
Yes. So I think right, it's the penultimate transition. The last transition is our way out the door. It's death. But the second to last transition in our vocational life, at least, is retirement, right? And so these are our last years. I'm not there yet, but for those who are, the last years to really make a difference. Okay. And a lot of what is so disruptive about it is for many high impact leaders, what are they doing? They're leaving behind part of their identity, right? Because so many people who are high achievers, they identify themselves as being that role, right? The CEO, the COO, the executive director of the nonprofit, whatever it is, like that was their personality. It wasn't just a role, wasn't just a job. For them, it was a part of their identity. It very much was part of their meaning making. Even if they have thought through, okay, this is something I do, not just who I am, right? They were making meaning by doing that work, right? By doing that leadership work. And now what? They don't have that job anymore. What does that mean about what's next? And so, yes, very disruptive. And at the same time, an opportunity to just launch into something new, right? If you're retired, hopefully that means you no longer need that income, right? Because you have retirement income or whatever you have. And so there's more freedom to lead and to offer your expertise and your value to the world in a way that you don't need that paycheck anymore. And so there's this beautiful opportunity to re-examine what it is you want to do with your life and how to make meaning along the way.
Wow, what a great answer to start with. Thank you so much. Now I have a glimpse more about what you are doing and offering. Of course, thank you so much. My next question for you is how does mortality awareness move from being an abstract concept to becoming a practical leadership tool in times of identity loss?
Yes. So as we think about our own mortality, right? The first thing we have to do is think about it. Many people don't want to, right? They don't want to think about death because, well, that's kind of sad or scary even. There's a lot of reasons that we don't want to think about our death. But once we engage with the fact that we really are mortal, right? Our time is limited. It helps us to have more clarity, right, around what our priorities are. Okay. So if you are my age, I turned 40 last year, right? I mean, statistically speaking, I'm over halfway done with my life. Okay. And there's still a lot of really good years of work left in me. Okay. As that number gets higher in terms of our age, the number also gets lower in terms of what we have left. And so as we consider, oh, I only have 10 or 20 statistical years left. Well, what do I really want to do with that? Yeah. And then, two, another way that mortality awareness can be very helpful is that we can consider what is ahead of us in a way that, you know what, I can face this and I can even befriend my own death. Very powerful and somewhat frightening concept for many. I didn't like it the first time I heard about it, right? But befriend our own death, because that thing at the end is also a way that we can give back, right? And so if we can befriend our death and know that our death is perhaps one of the greatest gifts we can offer to those that we love the most, well, maybe these other transitions that we're going through, these other changes, these other losses, these other things we're grieving, even if we try to push down that grief, maybe those can also be generative in terms of the meaning and the goodness that comes out of them, right? They may not feel good, right? Death doesn't feel good. Other losses, including sometimes retirement, they don't always feel good. And we've made it through that, right? What is the benefit we see out of those things? What is the goodness we see in those things, right? And sometimes we have to construct the goodness, we have to construct the meaning because it's not just there for us to kind of find and pick off the apple tree, right? It's something we need to grow ourselves in terms of that meaning, in terms of the good thing we see that's coming out of the loss.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And today I was thinking about it, or I came across a video, and it was like, if it's so the question, if what happens is happening for me, of course, and sometimes
Yes,
we have to change the perspective to see it. It's not visible at first sight,
that's
right?
right. Yeah, oftentimes we fall into this mindset of, oh, this is happening to me, right? And that makes sense. Things can be very difficult, and anyone who's feeling that way, I don't want to have them beat themselves up for feeling that way. And at the same time, what you said, it's happening for me. I love that because it's a way that we can reorient around this difficult thing, whatever it is, right? It's happening for me, right? Because however I respond to it will actually make me a better person, right? It'll hopefully make me more productive in terms of what I want to do, but at the very least, it will help cultivate me if I let it to become more fruitful in the things I want to be fruitful in, which generally are those things that the ancient people would call virtues, right? Like of justice and moderation and wisdom and those kinds of things.
Yes, absolutely fruitful to others as well in serving. And you talked about giving meaning to things, and also we get to choose, right? Which meaning we give to situations or
Yes.
what's
Yes.
happening. So I have another question for you,
Yes.
of course. You
Thank you.
speak about micro, meso, and macro losses, status, structure, cultural relevance. How can leaders consciously grieve these losses without losing their sense of agency?
Mm, yes. I think agency is so important for this work, right? Because in the loss, it was something we didn't necessarily have, right? We didn't have the agency. Sometimes yes, but oftentimes no, right? Whatever that loss is, we didn't want to lose it. And even if we chose to depart, right? Retirement is usually not forced sometimes, but something like that is a choice. But even then, there's a sense of loss, right? Which we don't want to feel that loss. It feels like it's kind of coming at us, right? So agency in the midst of all of these little losses, big losses, whatever they are, is important because again, it goes back to the meaning making. We get to choose what meaning we're making out of this loss, whatever it is. And right? Agency is power to do something. So we get to act, right? We get to choose how to act as we move through this loss into whatever is next. Okay. And so it's not just about meaning, although that's very important. It's also about what we do, right? What we want to do after the loss and as we're going through the loss. And so that is, again, a powerful realization because many people, in the face of loss, they're overwhelmed by that loss, and so they're somewhat stagnant, and they forget that they do have this agency to choose what's next, right? To interpret the situation in the way that they want to, and to move forward in again the way that aligns with their priorities and values, right? And I even thinking about these things, right? The act of interpretation is a kind of action, right? It's a kind of choice. It's using your agency. And as you do that and you do that deeper work, and hopefully you do that not just with a coach like myself, but also in terms of your community, your family, your close friends, whoever it might be, you also kind of develop the springboard into what's next, right? Both the meaning and then what comes after you find that meaning, or as you find that meaning, right? Because the ultimate meaning sometimes isn't right there at our fingertips, especially in these trying times. But yeah, I think agency is so powerful because that's what we need to understand and take advantage of to move beyond the loss, which is just kind of a negative thing, but to move beyond it in a way that says this is the new chapter and something good is going to happen.
Wow, so let's rewrite or let's write the new chapter. And I
Yes.
love this image you brought up about the springboard. What a
Yes.
beautiful, should have said stepping stone. Also,
Another good
stepping.
image. Yes.
Yes, he talked about choices and also people are caught in the loss or in the feeling. Then there's this transition period, and then we can write a new chapter.
Yes.
Wow, I love it. Thank you so much for all the images. My next question is for someone approaching retirement who feels both accomplished and unsettled, what is one reflective practice that can help them discern what truly matters next?
Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna offer two if that's okay. One is very brief if you want it to be, and one will take more time. The first one is I talked a little bit about mortality awareness. So one thing I offer to people is just find a relaxed position, close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so, and breathe. And as you breathe in, think about your death. Think about what it means for you to die, not just somebody else, not just some abstract concept, but you, right? And as you do that, attend to the feelings, notice the feelings that come up, right? It might be fear, it might be disgust, it might be sorrow, it might even be joy, right? Because you think about your loved ones and how much they care. But whatever it is that comes up, just notice that and hold that. Hopefully with a spirit not of judgment, but of acceptance, right? And just get to know yourself and your relationship with your ultimate end. Because if you do that, that will help you clarify those feelings that might be blocked towards whatever it is, in terms of the meaning making you do and things like that, right? Finding the purpose, those things. Okay, the other thing that I would suggest in the realm of mortality awareness is write your own obituary, right? Write what you want people to say it out loud, maybe, like, you could even enact your own funeral. That might be a little too far for some people, right? But if someone's um giving a speech about who you were, give that speech, right? Some sort of eulogy, okay? Or at least write it down. What do you want people to say about you, right? Is it your career? Well, then do what you have to do in your career. Is it, you know what, this person, he was a great dad, he was a loving grandfather, right? Or this woman, she cared about her family and she cared about her community, and list A, B, C, D, the things that she did for her community, the committees she was on, the activities she led and took part in, whatever it may be, right? That is a way for you to clarify what you actually want to do before that day comes and you're there in a casket or in an urn, right? So what do you want that last step to be in terms of commemorating your life? Well, move towards that. Move towards who you want to be before that last day interrupts everything, and you can't become that anymore. So do it now.
Wow, thank you so much for giving us the examples or exercises as well. I will definitely try it. And I remembered when you were talking, I did this. I wrote an obituary. This is a difficult word for
Yes.
me. I did this in 2004. And
Ah,
now I remember, and I would like to search it today, and then I
yes,
read it
revisit that.
again. Yes, revisit
Yes, what a great
and
idea.
and rewrite as well, because now
Mhm.
20 years later, of course, things changed, and I can add things. So things I already accomplished and new things for the next 10 or 20 years. Wow. Thank you so much. My next question is about where can we find you when people want to reach out to you after listening to this episode?
Yeah, thank you. I am most active currently on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn /Seth David Clark. Um, Right, I'm there. I have a company that's being kind of formed as we speak, and there's a website that's going to go up soon. It's not online yet, but it's called Life, Death, and Leadership. That's the company, and so lifedeathandleadership.com. And there we'll have some video courses and things like that, and then also that would be a good place, either of those places, really, to kind of talk about what sort of coaching you might want, these kinds of things. But every day I try to post something on LinkedIn that I think is helpful for people, right? Just adding value to their life in terms of understanding those three things I talked about, right? Life, death, and leadership. So, what does it mean to flourish in life? What does it mean to flourish even as there's death? And what does it mean to flourish as a leader? And so, just different concepts, different approaches, everything from ancient wisdom traditions like Confucianism or Buddhism or Christianity, which is my own tradition, to things like quick tips or sharing things from other sources, right? Because I'm not the source of all wisdom, right? Sharing other tips and nuggets of wisdom, just so that people can flourish more in terms of their work life, in terms of even their whole life, because life is more than just work. Life is what happens outside of the office as well.
I love that. Thank you so much. I'll check it out for sure. Yes, and my next question is about your goals and intentions. Do you set goals for yourself or intentions, and what is one of your next projects?
Thank you. Yes. I'm more of an intention guy because feel sometimes goals for me I feel a little bit too buttoned up, and I'm even though I guess I have my jacket on today, even then my shirt's unbuttoned. I'm a little bit less buttoned up, but yeah. So intentions. One intention I actually have. This is maybe less vocation based, but based on some ancient wisdom. I think about Aristotle, especially. It's about friendship. One thing I'm trying, my intention for 2026, not a New Year's resolution. Those usually fail, and especially several weeks into the new year already. But my intention is to just be with friends more, to have old friends and make sure that those friendships that where I am challenged, where I am edified and lifted up, and where I can just kind of let loose and have a good time and laugh and tell stories that we remember from a long time ago. Those kinds of friendships, right? Make sure those are still there, but also those friendships that are part of this new journey, right? So for years, I was not doing this kind of leadership stuff directly, but now I am, right? In terms of my own doctoral studies, in terms of my own kind of business and things like that, even in the nonprofit sector as well. But just make new friends, have new colleagues, have new friendly acquaintances in those spaces where we can have vision together, where we can bounce ideas off each other, where we can really sharpen each other's uh, tools, right? As well as just live life by each other and develop these deep bonds. And I think any good ancient wisdom tradition or modern one would tell us that friendship is a huge part of life. And if life is about flourishing, even in the workplace, right, there needs to be friendships so that we can feel as alive as we're meant to.
Absolutely, I agree. I love that. I love your goal or your intention with
Yes.
deepening relationships in 2026 and also spend more time, or I should say, invest more time with friends in friendship, of course, to develop and grow together in the right environment, maybe. So, thank you so much for our interview. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Caroline, again for having me. I think my final thought for the audience is to remember that you can befriend your future, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is that's coming. Um, you'll get through it, right? And then in the end, right, when you don't get through it, when life ends, you can offer that even as a gift to those around you. And so every moment is a moment worthy of meaning making, and every moment is meaningful. So take that with you as you go.
I'm speechless now. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
and see you in the next episode.